This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
He fascinates me. He really does. The things that he's revealed through astrology, even personally, whoa, spot on. And he's only just started reading me. We're going to get with that at some other time. Did we live another life? That's the question today. We're going to dig deeper into that. He's a medium, psychic, astrologer, numerologist, runs deep in all of this stuff with the answers that we've been looking for, these answers to the questions essentially of life. His name is Lelon. He's back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really pretty well. My my sister passed recently, so I've been dealing with that. And
So sorry.
yeah, we were estranged. So, but it's a sadness because I wish we could have been closer. But because of what I do, the metaphysical stuff, she's kind of opposed to it. But anyway, I'm doing great.
Mm. It's an interesting time in terms of transit, astrology. There's a lot going on. We started talking a little bit about that before. It's overall a heavy time. I think that,
Planetary shifts, big shifts, all over the place with people, the collective conscious. People are leaving relationships they've been thinking about for a long time. Now they're doing it with that Neptune and Saturn in Aries, 0, 1 degree, right there. It's like things people have been thinking about doing for a long time. A lot of people are doing them. Some people have chosen to settle, and they're so stuck with what they've settled with, it's hard to get out of it.
yeah.
But yeah, just all you have to do is listen to the news. It's like, whew, yeah.
Is it a feeling of you're out of sorts? You feel out of place, maybe with
Limbo.
situations in your life, maybe like you said, holding on to a relationship. Deep
Right.
down inside, you probably know you should move on from it, but you hold on to it. But now you're conflicted where, let's say if it was a couple of years ago, be like, all right, I'll just, keep going with it. Now you're like, oh, no, 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 but I think I need to stay with this because I
That's
have,
exactly what you're saying is exactly it. Some people like me, I've kind of been in limbo, kind of like with direction. Nothing going bad. It's just kind of like I've been feeling, and my guides have been telling me I was going to relocate for years, but it still hasn't quite happened. But I can feel it approaching. So I've been in limbo. You're afraid
Mm,
to purchase a lot of things or do a lot of things with your home because you don't know if you're staying there, and you don't.
yeah.
Uh, some people um, are going to have a better time with the shifts because they've been working on themselves and they're being honest with themselves and they've been doing inner work and increasing their awareness of what they need to be aware of in their life. Some people that aren't doing that, it's going to be more difficult. If you've settled in, like I have clients who come to me sometimes, and some of these women that come see me, they've been married to somebody for 40 years, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not happy. He's not meeting my needs, da da da." And I'll see when I'm doing the cards, the tarot, it's like there's someone else in the future coming. Oh, how can you say that? How can you say that? How could I leave my husband and my children? And I'm saying, but you just said that you've gone in different directions. You're not getting your needs met. He's not listening. I know, but I made a commitment for better or for worse.
Mm,
And
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm like, just telling you, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying there's an opportunity I see with someone else somewhere down the line. If you open the door, if you're open to that, you don't have to. If you want to stay with somebody where you're not getting your needs met, that's just an example.
No, I got you.
The
And
kind
and
of
I'm, and
thing.
I'm going to say, Leyland, my door is open. Uh, just what you said. The door is open. I've left it unlocked. Come on.
But for
But
you, that's the only way that it's going to manifest.
yeah, a journey. Do you believe that we lived other lives?
Well, based on my personal experiences and not what I believe, but what I've experienced, absolutely. What brought me into a lot of what I'm doing with the metaphysical work with people was the fact that I had some, for example, I left the Deep South and because I was pursuing a musical career. I wanted to do opera and everything, but so I did that. But when I moved to New York to do that, I started having an awakening kind of thing, and I didn't know what was happening to me. I've been studying astrology, a little bit, but for example, I was just walking down the street one day, down the sidewalk in New York. I hadn't been in New York very long. I'm having culture shock. And this woman's coming down the sidewalk towards me, and all of a sudden I'm seeing her in medieval garb and jewelry, and I'm seeing the medieval setting, and I'm thinking, I'm either loco, losing it, or I have to find out what's going on because I started having a lot of experiences like that. Now, not everybody does, but even when I was a kid, I just knew things about people. I would see things around them, and I just didn't talk about it a lot because my mother told me not to. It shut me down a lot. But that led me into taking some classes. I said, I got to find out what this is. And that's when I discovered I had some past life memories come up spontaneously. I didn't ask for it. I wasn't trying. And that led me into pursuing it more directly because I wanted to understand me. And I was trying to get away from some of my old beliefs. Here we go with beliefs that were indoctrinated into me about right and wrong, heaven and hell, and what life's all about. And a lot of that didn't work for me and didn't make sense anymore. So I was looking for deeper, answers. So when I started doing regression work, I almost became a hermit. And for several years, I spent hours and hours in meditation and deep regression work. I mean, I have a foot locker full of notebooks, full of notes on my past lives. When I work with
Wow.
people through the years, I've been doing this for over 40 something years, and they would confirm. I wasn't always taking everybody to past lives. I was taking them back to trauma or blocks. It could be from this life. I didn't always, you know, some people didn't go to past lives, but a lot of people without me, I just guided people. I didn't tell them what to do. They would go back and remember these things that had everything to do with the blocks they're having, the trouble in this lifetime. And then I had to study, how do I help these people overcome the blocks? How do I help them release the trauma that happened? So I could go on. I've had a number of people come and do regressions, and they'll say, I want to find out why I've had this neck problem all my life, and the doctors can't explain it, and it won't go away. And I've had, everything. We go back to the regression, and they find out they were brutally attacked, in a war and severely damaged their neck, or they lost their life from a wound like that. Many instances like that. It's not always that physically. It could be trauma emotionally, trauma, severe, terrible happenings that happen to people. But what happens is you bring it over unconsciously. Everything that's done to you, you just don't end it in one lifetime. You bring it over if it hasn't been resolved. And so, like women
Mm.
attracting men that abuse them, if you can sit them down and get them to open up, and they can do traditional therapy and get help. It does, they don't have to do it my way, but you can find out that they have this pattern, this unconscious feeling in them that they don't deserve a healthy relationship. They don't deserve to be treated right. And so they keep attracting unconsciously, and they don't understand it, the wrong men who are going to continually this pattern until they recognize it. When you bring it up to your consciousness and you see it, what happened to you, you got to see it. It's like Buddha said, you cannot change what you do not understand. So people go to their graves and they have all these issues and problems, and you've got to dig deep. You've got to make the effort to look, and you can do it with traditional therapy again. Do self-help. There's tapes, there's books, or you can go to a specific kind of holistic therapist like me. But people don't have to suffer the way they do. And it's not always bad. Sometimes people go back and I help them uh, access and connect with a very positive lifetime. So why are they having such a good lifetime? Why they're having the marriage and children and husband they always dreamed of, and it's happening. And I don't find that often. Most people don't have it that great, but I do run into people that have very good karma or dharma, whatever you want to call it. I mean,
Hmm.
you know,
This whole past life thing, I did a regression under hypnosis over the summer. And
yeah.
I was on what I called a Steve retreat, and I went away by myself, and I was just like
Good.
reading, reflecting, relaxing, and this, a hypnotherapist who I trust. I figured, all right, you know what, let's give this a roll, and it was so interesting. And I'll just set the stage real quick. I had there was a horse in a field where I was staying, next to where I was staying. And
Yeah.
just like I felt so bad, like deplorable situation in another country. They just leave it there. It's in the sun. Didn't have food. So I went over there and I would feed it. And weird. I felt like connected to it. It's a strange feeling.
Hmm.
So forward, go forward a few hours. I do this past life regression and it was virtual, just sitting on a couch in an Airbnb. And it took me back to being on a farm and it took me back to uh, there was a horse there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, well, like, what are the chances? Like, and I'm thinking, all right, Steve, you're just, you're bringing this up because you just saw the horse.
Synchronicity.
I don't believe I did. I believe that just what you said, it was supposed to happen. I have an affinity for like the late 1800s in that area. I,
Yes.
I think it was from that time. Um, do I believe all of this? My jury was out. Except here's the one point. Um, there was somebody I was involved with, call it a partner, in this regression, but I didn't see them. But I knew I had a wife. Like I don't know where they are. We're looking around for them, not around. And then I see another scene of me in a room, dark brown walls, and she's about to pass. And then she does. The amount of emotion I felt.
Yeah.
It was real. Like you can't make it up. Like like I couldn't. And then I met somebody else and I was elevated in the town and not maybe a few years later, whatever it might be, where I'm addressing people in a crowd and I see a woman looking up at me with pride. I'm like, and it was real. So my point here is I want to just throw this to the side. I was like, yeah, it's BS, whatever. It's just your head playing tricks or whatever it is. But
Or
the feeling was there as if it was real. I don't think I could have made that up at all. And the horse thing, I think there's messages there. When I was little, my dad used to take me and my sister. It was like our thing.
yeah.
Didn't see him that often, but it came back to me like when I was 3. I would feed the horse. We'd go see a horse and give him a sugar cube, and that was like a big thing for a 3-year-old.
Oh, I mean,
Um,
that's something that you resonated with in your life. It's a resonance. It's a thing, it's a something that's been an important factor in your life. It was there, it's part of who you are and your experience. So, you know, absolutely. And I've had a few people say after regression will come out of it. I've helped them release, I've helped them reprogram a little bit.
sure,
And they'll say, did I just make that all up?
right.
And my thing is, well, if you made it up, out of all the bazillions of things you could have made up, why did you make that up? Because,
It's true.
think of it as symbolism. Think of it as an inner scenario, some kind of symbolic thing inside of you that you're trying to work through. But most people, after they've done it, even people that weren't sure they believed it, they're like profoundly affected. Here's another example. I had a lady, she's been a client of mine for 15 years or so. She came the first time and she was like, I don't know why I'm here. I've never done anything like this. But she said, I just can't find the solution. I'm afraid of men. And she said, I have to keep a gun under my pillow. I've done it for years. And I'm like, red flag. Okay, that's not normal. You know,
Mm,
says if I
mm.
travel and I travel a lot, I take my gun, I keep it under my pillow at the hotel. I'm like, we need to get to the bottom of this. So we did the regression. And she'd said, I don't know why I've always been afraid of my father. She said, because my father was good to me. He was good to my family. And we never had, she said there was something distant. I mean, there was kind of an awkwardness, but my father was definitely good and provide. He never beat me or anything. She said it was a weird feeling. So I took her back and she went to a scenario that was like a cabin somewhere out, in the wilderness. And she's seeing herself kind of in a kitchen area. It's very rustic, kind of making some kind of meal. Her back is turned to the one window that's in that room, and she turns to see a man has come through the window and standing behind her, and he murders her. Well, we did the whole release, and if you can forgive, da da da, I can't explain it right now, but you have to go through a process to help people. And so when we came out, she was like, "That was my father from this life. The man that murdered me, I know that was him. I saw his soul. I knew it was him." And so I said, "Well, we've removed the block. We've let you see it consciously. We've done the reprogramming. Now just go and let it sit for a while and absorb what happened. If you have questions, call me." She was amazed, but the next time I talked to her, she said, "I don't need the gun anymore. I
Mm.
haven't traveled with it. I don't need it anymore." She said that really helped me understand. She said it was not a logical fear of men. It was from that certain experience. So that's kind of the way it goes with a lot of those sessions.
100%. And for anybody thinks this is, oh, it's a little woo, those two men there are a little weird.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The regression is to help you heal. And I can tell you what came up for me in that my first ever regression, and I'll do more.
Mhm.
Um, there were lessons, or there were reasons why later in life, or in another this life,
Yeah.
why I uh, react a certain way to certain situations, and don't even need to get into the detail, but I trace it back to that. I was like, whoa, okay, that's interesting right there.
The
Um,
fact, yeah.
yeah, it was clues to what you got going on, because stuff that you dealt with in another life, you brought it over to this one, right?
And it expands your awareness of who you are.
Hmm.
It explains why you are the way you are when you see what happened from your past. And it's from our childhood in this life too. I mean, a lot of people just go there and there's enough. But I mean, it's always amazing to me, and no two sessions are alike, and no two people have exactly the same problem. Sometimes they're similar. A lot of people come to me with um, so for some reason, I get a lot of people who've been molested because I was molested, just to be honest. And so I know how to help them because I went through a lot of a deep uh, reckoning with it and healing and anger and a lot of stuff that you've got to release and deal with. But I couldn't help people the way I do if I didn't understand the kind of suffering. So
Totally. And do you think that because you went through that, you attract them? You attract these people, or they gravitate toward you because they don't know, but they know that
they
you
unconsciously, people
you
can
can
feel
help them.
psychically and unconsciously about you. That's like if you're walking down the street and you're afraid and you're in an iffy neighborhood, if you're walking in fear, people pick up on it. The people that are going to prey on you. And if you walk with confidence and you have faith in a higher power and that you're safe and all that, you usually aren't going to get hurt.
Mm.
Same thing with attracting. Like, yeah, I did in my early teens and early 20s. I hadn't worked through all this, and I would attract people that because I'm basically an open person and I'm kind of gentle and kind and I'm a Libra. I have a lot of Scorpio, so once you cross a boundary, then you'll find out about that. But at that time, I wasn't as strong as I've become, and so yeah, there were times when I'd go, why do people keep preying on me? Like what is? And then I woke up and realized through my own inner work. what I had to fix, what I had to work on, what I had to release, you know.
I even say too, with along the same example, a dog can spot fear. A dog knows when you're afraid. They pick up on it. If there's any species that are plugged in and grounded, it's going to be animals, dogs, whatever. They're always walking on the ground. They're always grounded. They don't have to worry about mortgage payments, bills, and relationships, three jobs, and all of that. They're just taking it all in. So it's been said that they know. They know.
I do know, and absolutely, animals in the animal kingdom, some of them are far more perceptive than human beings in terms of their extrasensory. Look at a deer and their ears. I mean, they're picking up, I have cats. I mean, my cats,
Oh my
they,
gosh.
if I have visitors and I have different clients, they know before when they drive up in the driveway, before they come in the house, these cats they go to the farthest part of the room if they know that it's a dog person, for example, because they don't like the smell of dogs.
Hmm.
But you can look at the animal kingdom and look at their abilities, and look at dolphins. I mean, those are amazing, like extraworldly creatures that come up to the surface and interact with you and
Mm.
communicate, out of
Hmm.
the ocean. Their brains are larger than human brains, you know.
Even the horse, and
Absolutely.
that's what.
They know instinctually about fear.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but I don't care. When I looked in that horse's eyes, there was a connection, and it's almost as if he was saying, "Oh yeah, you showed up. You're here now. Great, good to have you here." And he knew I
Have a
was there
soul.
to help
They
him.
have a soul. They have a soul and a spirit. Animals have
Yes.
a nervous system. They feel pain. They're not just dumb animals. They have an intelligence that's not exactly like ours, but they surpass us sometimes in their hearing and their smell and those kind of things that we kind of take for granted and haven't really developed, some of us.
Mm.
Anyway, and one way you can sense past lives that's not that complicated is ask yourself uh, what you're attracted to. Like I've always loved Indian food, and that's one of the things that I wanted to explore. And I had some really important lifetimes in India, and that's why I love Indian food. I've always had an abhorrence towards France. And I thought, that doesn't make sense. But then I went back in regression and saw myself in the French Revolution and what happened, you know. And
Hmm.
if you ask yourself, what am I attracted to? What countries? What culture? If you're really attracted to Spain, or you're really attracted to the Asian decor in your house, there's a
You were
story.
probably there,
That's exactly
and to your point, just about out of time. I have to keep going here.
right.
Um, like I said, I always had affinity to the 1800s, like 1860 to like 1910. I don't know why. I got nothing for you. Can't explain it. And I would look at black and white photos because it just had photography starting, and I thought it was really cool. And I would
Yeah.
look at pictures of the clothing, and I think, how the heck did they do that? That stuff looks like it could have been made today with that detail. They have these machines and everything. Amazing. Hours. I could stare at these pictures. And a couple of years ago, a genealogist said, "Yeah, let me look at your family roots." And I really don't have a lot of details to give her at all.
Yeah.
She came back with, "Oh, okay, well, your father's father was Lithuanian. I didn't even know I was. And he was a tailor and a very successful one in Lithuania. And he worked his butt off and moved his family to New York City. And with just minimal details, she was able to tell me what street he lived on in New York City. And then he did the tailoring there and was very successful. And he has a hard work ethic. I think I do too. And all, like,
Yes.
what are the chances? Maybe I was there in some, who knows? But the affinity is there. It's amazing talking with you. We got to do like an hour one day. This we could just go on and on. And you started reading my astrology chart uh, before we got on here, and I
Yeah.
just want to say we didn't finish even close. Everything you said was spot on. I didn't give you any information, and it's almost as like you're reading my mind. It's
I've been doing this for 40 something years. I live, breathe, and for years I just went into solitude to absorb. Not one sacred science, but I'm into a wide range, and I like to find the connections between them. But But thank you. I hope it was helpful and gives you some insight.
I'd love to pick that up at some point. 'Cause it was almost like the watching a movie, and you're right at the point of like, we gotta get on and do this podcast. Just amazing how you do what you do, and in
Well,
such
the
a
intuition comes in too. It's not just the sciences. I combine it. And then I have guides. That I listen. I have clairaudience, so that's part of it too. And everybody can develop their abilities. You can develop them, but you have to get over your fear of all the hooky dooky. It's not lollipops and unicorns, all of it, and woo woo.
right.
It's very like therapeutic and psychological, a lot of this, so.
Anybody looking for some insight, answers to questions, a reading, astrological reading as well, you are easy to talk to and available. Lelon, LELON.US, correct?
That's it. That's
Cool.
right.
The first time we ever did Zoom, nice meeting you here.
I hope it works the next time too.
It will. I'm putting that out into the universe. Even though we're in a Mercury retrograde, it's going to work.
I know.
Yeah, all good. Thank you so much for today, and we'll definitely talk soon.
All right, wise man.
appreciate-
See you later.
Wise man. I'm the horseman,
That too.
I guess.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.